on to something else, because otherwise I think you get stifled and your creativity, which isn't to say you shouldn't go back to it and then go do other things and maybe go back to it, because it's a great gig. And especially if you're a single dad or a single mom, it's an incredible gig. Prime time in movies are not good gigs if you're a family person, because you're not home with your kids. You're not home with your husband or wife. You're barely home. You don't see your friends because you're working outrageous hours, 14 to 16 hours a day. And yes, you're making a ton of money, but that's life that you're never going to ever get back. And so you make that trade-off.
You're cutting it. You're frozen. Frozen. You're frozen.
Very cold. It's very cold. It keeps freezing. So so anyway, I think that, if you're a performer who wants to have a family, daytime is a really amazing place to go. Theater, daytime, commercials, those are great places to go. If you want to have a family and really be around with your family and watch your kids grow up, film and television are incredibly difficult jobs to raise normal kids, because you're not going to be able to spend a lot of time with your family or your kids. You have the weekends, but even then you're going to have to learn lines and do publicity and things like that. So those are the main differences. In terms of what it's like on the set and how it's different, it is very different, because you do maybe 5 pages a day in a movie. And like I said, you can do 90 pages a day, just a single actor or two. Maurice and I have had days where we did 5 episodes in one day.
When you created this iconic persona with Carly, who is so loved by so many people to this day. What do you feel for yourself is what, made her character just stand out and have these legendary performances and made her such a phenomenon?
Well, the performances I got to take credit for. The rest of it, I can't take any credit for any of the rest of it. Obviously, I didn't write her dialogue and I didn't create her, but I know that when Carly was created, she was only supposed to be on for 6 months. She was a 6-month one and done. And thank you, Martina. She was.
You're frozen. You are frozen.
I have a survival instinct as an actor that was with me, and it's probably because I'm a survivor anyway. That's been my life. So when I got my original scripts for Carly, I didn't think it was well written. I didn't think it was good. I thought it was kind of awful. And I thought, well, I got to fix this. I don't know how, but it's awful. Maybe it's my performance. Maybe it's the way I'm interpreting it. Maybe it's just not written well. I don't know what it is, but it's not jiving for me. So I would take the weekends and spend all of my night times writing Carly's backstory and writing her internal monologue. That was a big part of working on her, so that when I finally got who she was, it came from my idea of who she was. And then I thought, well, I'm going to show them who she is, because they don't know. They clearly do not know. And some years later, they wrote, we didn't know what to do with her. We just really didn't know what to do with her. And then one day we wrote this scene. I think it was Patrick Mulcahy who wrote this scene where Carly comes, it goes into Bobby's bedroom and she tries on Bobby's necklace and she's looking in the mirror like I am this whatever. And then Bobby busts her and it's this moment of like shoplifting. Bobby thinks I'm going to try to steal it or whatever. And that was a breakthrough moment for the character. And for whatever it was, that breakthrough moment came from all of that background work and history of me really going, I'm going to get fired if I don't step up my game, because I knew it was not gonna work. I knew that I was gonna get fired. My wardrobe was bad, my hair was worse, and the work was, I didn't understand it. You know what I'm saying? I was trained classically, and here they had me listening.
But how much was that? How much of that was more for you? Because when I watch you as a performer all these years, as I said, you have this, to me, watching you was like watching my best friend Sharon Case.
I love Sharon also, and I think she's so incredibly talented. So
extremely talented.
Sharon.
And
Also so kind. Can I
you
say that?
you
Like,
two
so
together
kind.
would be
He's
an
so
absolute
kind.
dream to see at the same time, on the same show, in the same scene, because, you know, Sharon gets these terrible scripts sometimes, just completely bad scripts on Y&R. But she has this uncanny ability to take chicken salad and turn it into this gourmet of recipe of like incredible work where you go, how the fuck did you take such a terrible script and bring it to so much life? And she's always would say to me, she's like, I don't care if they write me, you know, a cat in a hat.
Yeah.
I'll figure out a way to basically make it my own. And that's why I said, it's like when I watch you, you know, I've always said as actors and performers, you know the difference between actors that read a script,
yeah,
and there's actors, number one, that bring the element of theater performance to their game. And that's why I would say with you, it's like watching you, and I've watched so many iconic performances that you've done, that I sit back in awe going, okay, how much is this ad lib?
Yeah.
How much is this really her? Because you're a very passionate person. You're a very person, number one, I know
it's not
that
ad lib.
when you bring
It's
an
not ad
element
lib.
to your game, it's so authentic and it's so real. And I mean, when you say, for example, that specific scene you were talking about was, you know, the pivotal moment where you thought you were going to get fired, but then it changed the dynamic.
Yeah.
To me, the scene that I always say, and I don't know if you remember this scene. I'm sure you.
Sure I do.
But
or not.
for me, your most iconic scene, other than there was a courtroom scene with you and Steve Burton, but it was the scene when you were drunk in the party and you came upstairs.
I love the Carly stuff. That was amazing.
Yes, and to me, it's like the minute I saw that scene, I said, "This girl's a fucking player," because there was all of these talented, amazing, iconic actors in that room, in that scene.
All of them.
And literally, it was like you came in there in front of these icons, these legends, and you put on a masterclass. Like
that was one of my favorite things I've ever done on General Hospital. But I have, again, the difference is it was brilliantly written. Whereas in the beginning of Carly, they didn't know what to do with her.
Mm-hmm.
They had no idea. So they just, you know, throw it against the wall and see what sticks. They didn't know who she was. So they had to be they had to spend some time with me before they understood what I could do, who I was. And that's what soaps do. They really do take their cues from the actors. In a lot, like they have their character ideas, but they also know their actors.
I agree. Someone saying, I agree. They call me Lily. She said that with you, it's not like you're acting. And this is the thing, like I always say with you, your performances, it's not like you're acting. Like it's like you bring so much realism to every scene that you do, where I watch all the other actors on that show. And then, yes, there's some great actors that have been on that show for years.
Like John Engel, for instance, you know, and I'm learning from the best of the best on GH, because John Engel was a teacher. He was an acting coach and a teacher, and my biggest fan, and I his. So, and Stuart Damon, who I absolutely adored, and Maurice. And I have to say the Carly Babes episodes were some of my favorites because they were brilliantly written. They knew by then who was writing for me and how to do it. And I'm just saying, in the beginning, the wardrobe was bad, the hair was bad, and the writing was bad for my character, because I wasn't important. You know, I was just a thing. I was a plot point. I wasn't an important character, so they weren't having their best writers. They were just whoever was throwing it together and trying to figure out who I was. But as we went along, I got the good writers, and I got people going, I want to write her. I want to write for her. I want to write for her. As we finally got going, there was a scene, for instance, on in GH back in the day where I got on the bed and I had to do some scene on Bobby's bed. And I said, you know what, or on Carly's bed. And I was like, give me a teddy bear. I need a teddy bear. I got to have a teddy bear. So they brought a teddy bear in, and I had this teddy bear. And I think it was the first time a character ever cried. And I've gotten so many letters, and so many people just finally got who she was in that moment. They got that she was just a little girl at heart, that she wasn't this evil, maniacal, calculating.
You're frozen.
Had a huge heart and didn't know how to express it, and was deeply hurt, and hurt people hurt people. But it doesn't mean they don't go home and snuggle with their teddy bear. You know what I mean? And she was just a kid. I mean, if I was a kid, Carly was a kid, and I was 20 or 20. I think I was 20 when I started GH. So, but I loved doing that show. I had a really, really great experience and a lot of fun playing Carly. But Carly Babes is by far, I think, Carly Babes is my favorite. And then, you know, the scene where Sonny and I first got together and first had like our crazy moment where Jason got shot. That whole thing was epic and amazingly fun to do. And I have to be honest, from the day I got there, I wanted to work with Maurice. That's the person I wanted to work with. So I just wanted to survive, be good, and get to work with Maurice Bernard. So to have him look at me and be like, I want to work at you. I want to work with you. Dream come true. And we had so much fun together. But there comes a time, I think, in any actor's life when you've played a character as long as I played Carly, and for as many years as I played Carly, as many days of the week that I played Carly, as much material as they gave us, that I felt like I was saying her words more than my own. And that was scary to me. I wanted to have a life that was, you know, there was a point when I was on VR Troopers where, because we were working 17 hours a day often, very, very, very often, and had to be up so early in the morning, I would wake up when the alarm would go off, and the first words out of my mouth were, I gotta save the world. I'm like, shoot me. What is going on? When a job gets so deep into your psychology that you start to dream about it, and then you're saying the other person's words all day long. Because in soaps, you're literally, you go upstairs and you're
frozen. Frozen.
We're so frozen. Sorry. So the point for me was that I needed to have other life experiences. I wasn't having any other dialogue going on in my head other than saying her words all day, being locked in a dressing room in a basement, and rehearsing with my other actors her words all day. And then going home, spending some time with my kid and my just basically my daughter and my boyfriend who lived with us, and then learning her lines again, and then going to work and saying her lines. So I didn't have any life. I didn't have, I just, even on the weekends would have to learn, you know, learn the material, learn the auditions for the next day or whatever it was. And I just didn't feel like I was having any life experience, and that if that's all I ever did for the rest of my life, I would be extremely sad and bored at the end of my life.
So was it your decision to leave, in the sense, in the beginning?
Yeah, from the beginning. In fact, not only was it my decision to leave, but I had wanted to leave way before I was able to leave, and I was not allowed to leave. I was in fact told that if I left when I wanted to leave, not good things.
Well, dude, so for you, like, you know, I mean, when a lot of people, I think, just in general in the business, I mean, they get into a situation where they've played something for so long and they want to spread their wings, because, you know, you always want to test yourself. You always want to, you know, elevate your game more and more and more to establish yourself as a performer. So for you, like, you know,
I do believe that. I think it's always, the point of being an artist is really about growth as a human being. It's supposed to help you grow. My dad had a great piece of art. My dad was a visual artist, and I put it up on my Instagram. You can see it if you want. But he drew this little Zen man sitting there talking to this little bird, and it said, outside the lines may make you more acceptable. Inside the lines may make you more acceptable, but outside the lines is where true art is born. And I thought he was right about that. And I knew that, and he wrote that after I left daytime for me. He drew that for me after I left daytime. And, and I went back to daytime, and I left again, and I went back, and, I felt like that was the point. That was what I was trained to do, was do it.
Okay, so when you came back, I know you had left for a period of time and you came back. What
as Claudia, do you mean? Or because I left daytime and then I went back to As the World Turns. I went to a different soap altogether in New York, and changed my hair and just played somebody else. And then I went back to GH and played a different character. And then I went over to The Bold and the Beautiful, and then I went to Days of Our Lives.
So from when you started on daytime compared to when you came back,
yeah,
compared to also in like now in this climate per se of daytime and just in television in general,
yeah,
do you feel the business has changed for the better, the worse, or the same?
In what ways?
For you,
I mean, with Corona, it's a mess. Like what? It's
before Corona, like in the sense of what I mean is that, like, what would you feel like the difference is?
I think I saw a YouTube video where Y&R was using a dummy to do makeout scenes, and I'm like, well, that's definitely for the worst. I can't even imagine how difficult and weird that must be. But I guess it's kind of like on a film set when you're using CGI. You're constantly, looking at things that don't exist. If you were doing Jurassic Park, you're not looking at obviously real dinosaurs. So in a way, but the issue is that I think in daytime, the way they light it, it doesn't really look as real as it would if you're doing CGI in a James Cameron movie. I don't know. I don't think that
when you left,
what makes it tough? I'll tell you this. What's really tough is right now, because of Rona, every actor is unemployed. So that means even the biggest stars in the world will kind of do network television or so it would definitely squeeze out the actor like myself whose resume isn't as padded, let's say, as somebody who's already done, 50 films or 20 films or just a lot of really great things. So, I've done a lot of television, but I haven't done enough movies to, in this day and age, really get movies, because huge stars are taking independent films for nothing. That's the bad part of the business from my perspective. For me, it's not bad. I think it's actually really great that you could see Denzel Washington in an independent movie just because he has his heart in it and wants to do it. But it does hurt people like myself who then can't get an audition.
So many actors I know, like for example, from daytime, who have tried to make the attempt to jump over into prime time. Some have been successful, some and many not so much. What do you feel, is the harder realm? Working in prime time or working in daytime?
What's Big Mama up to? I'm sorry, because the Frozen, I missed a little piece of you there. What'd you say? What's better?
Not just what's better, but like for you, like what do you feel, for example, like, in making the crossover from prime time and daytime, what do you feel that is the advantages and the disadvantages between daytime and prime time?
So I think what we talked about earlier, like daytime is a choice if you have a family. That makes a lot of sense. It's a great aspiration to have if you're an actor who knows, for example, that you want to have a big family and want to be home for dinner. If you're completely ambitious as a human being, you want other things. I mean, if your human nature is about ambition to do the bigger and better and really stretch, and it's a hard life to be in prime time and to be in film. Even though you see everybody looking so glamorous and yeah, they're making a lot of money, it's not a good life. You're stuck in a trailer. You can't go anywhere. You're stuck in a trailer. And when they do call you to come out on set, and by the way, you're working with your heroes, but you're working with them for that hour and you're stuck on the trailer for, 15 hours. So it's not a good life unless you really like to read or paint or write screenplays or edit or do something else. What's great now is that we have computers, so there are a lot of other things that you can do stuck in a trailer or in a dressing room that you couldn't really necessarily didn't have access to before. You just sit and watch television and, you kind of want to open a vein and get. I think daytime is a great job for a family person. It's a great job for somebody who wants to get a ton of experience and make money and doesn't have huge ambition to do. It's just a great job. Like in general, it's a great job. So whereas the other stuff is not necessarily a great job. You're freezing your ass off in the snow one day and you're in a helicopter hanging from the wings, and another day you're breaking your neck because you don't have a stunt double or whatever it is. That can happen in daytime too. I think daytime is an incredible job to have. It was something I was very grateful for. I loved it. I had incredible co-stars. I felt very, very lucky to be on General Hospital as my first experience. Everyone took me under their wing. There wasn't a single actor that I worked with on General Hospital that was shitty or disrespectful or awful. Steve Burton and I did not get off to the greatest start when we started, but by the end we were like brother and sister. And he explained and apologized for that years later, and that was really nice of him and didn't have to do that. I really appreciated it. Maurice was always like a brother to me. I loved his family and his wife, and even our executive producers, Wendy, Rich, and I had a little moment there where I wanted to punch her face out, but it only happened once. And other than that, like, we were great. I felt really respected, loved, and appreciated. And I loved everyone, including, Krieger, who used to deliver our scripts. I loved everyone. So that was really great. I don't think that's necessarily the case when you go into a film. I loved our sound guys. I loved our sound females. I loved our camera guys. We just really were a team. We were a family. And that's not something that happens on a film generally. I mean, you're family first. Twitter, you know what I mean?
The thing is, what I've always, there's always been a question for me, I think, with female performers, is that when you look at soaps,
yeah,
and the performers, the female performers that have been in the business since day one, to me, where I look at soap operas in general, there's a lot of great male actors who are in the game.
Yeah.
But I've always felt that the female performers have always been, to me, the driving forces of daytime, who have been these matriarchs, who have had these legendary careers.
Right.
Why do you feel that prime time, like, for example, when a woman who's in prime time reaches a certain age demographic, where they're sort of 40, saying, okay, well, I'm not going to give this actor that role because I feel that she's too old.
Yeah.
But in daytime, it seems like they can have careers that go on 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
And they get a lot more respect.
Yeah.
Why do you feel there's a difference in the sense of where if female actors in prime time and major film who have a short span of career, where you said before that, daytime can sort of, and yes, it is somewhat shunned on, but I've always said that daytime actors, female or male, it's the hardest game to be in, because not only is the dialogue so friggin' long, the memory aspect of having to remember the amount of dialogue and pages per day, that would you not feel that it would be better for most actors to stay in daytime than it is to cross over in the sense, number one, to prime time because there's more job security in daytime?
I'm reading everybody's everything. By the way, I'm reading everybody's everything as it's going by. And I'm dyslexic, so this is an interesting, like I'm watching him and I'm reading you, and it's really interesting. I think that it's because the primary watcher of daytime television are female. The primary viewers are female. I know that even just from my fan base. Like if I go on Facebook and I look and see, if I share a video, who are the majority of people that look at it? They're female by 90% to 10%. So that is really the actual demographic. It's mostly women that are watching daytime TV, and daytime TV was actually invented for women. You know, it was invented for women as a way to sell soap, and that's why they're called soaps. So it was invented for a way to sell shampoo to women and to sell actual dish soap and products. That's why daytime exists. So even to this day, most people will say my auntie, my mom, you know, they're not generally saying my dad turned me on to daytime when I was a kid and forced me to watch it. I do have football players, though. A lot of football players watch daytime. You'd be surprised. I was surprised when I went through the airport with my Emmy one year, and I went through the scanner, and the guy was like, "It's Carly!" Literally jumped out of my skin. He's this massive dude, like, you know, football player, just huge. I was like, wait, what? You don't watch daytime? And he goes, oh, yeah, that's what we do. Like, when we're on break, while we're playing, we're in the break room watching daytime. And I thought, well, that makes sense.
Watching daytime, I think it's the fact that
really great hair, and okay, that makes sense.
No, but I think it's the fact that there's just certain
gorgeous guys. Like women love to look at gorgeous guys, and daytime is full of gorgeous men and beautiful women who are not like intimidating necessarily. But I think that they have long-spanning careers. If you look at Lila Quartermain, who remembers Lila Quartermain, who I loved, and even to the day that she was in her wheelchair, she was getting to come to set and work. And that was because she had value to the show and to the network. They wouldn't bring somebody in who didn't have value and worth to the show and to the network. And she had value in network in the show because women literally watched her as they aged. They aged with her. So she had fans that were her age that were still watching the show. And of course they want to see her. They don't just want to see these 20-year-old kids. But I'll tell you, at 25, my agent told me I was getting old. And not my agent, my manager. And at 26, I was told that I was too old.
You're definitely not too old for that because you still look at 25.
No, well, I was told at 26 years old, on my 26th birthday, I was going in to test for a pilot for CBS that I had already been invited to test for because I had already auditioned for multiple times. And as I was driving and about to go in through the gates, my agent called and said, CBS said you're too old. I was 26 years old and I was going to play a young FBI agent. So when you're 25 and your agent says to you, well, you know, you're already getting to that age where I was like, really, like literally blow my brains out right now. Are you kidding me? I never in a million years could have anticipated her saying something like that.
Was that for daytime or was that when you were on numbers?
I understood. I had celiac disease. Before I knew I had celiac disease, I looked incredibly like a different person. I would wake up and my eyes were, if you've ever seen somebody who has a severe fish allergy, like a shellfish allergy, I would wake up with no eyelids whatsoever and no cheekbones because my cheeks would be out to here. So much so that I went to a doctor and I was like, what would it take to remove this? You know what I mean? Because it was so bad and I didn't understand. I never looked like that when I was 19 or, 18. And then all of a sudden around, it was when I got pregnant with my daughter, I guess it really kind of triggered and kicked in because it started to become very noticeable for me on television. So I had a hard time in my 20s where casting directors would call my agent or networks would call the agent and say, wow, she did a great job, but her face was all swelled up. And there's so much work I've done that I can't watch because I just go, oh my God, who's that person? I have the ugly disease. celiac, and I know Jennifer Esposito and I have talked about this ad nauseum because she has the same issue.
Jennifer.
And she also has the same, her body reacts to the celiac, the gluten, in the same way mine does, where her eyeballs swell and the under eyes swell, and she looks like a different person. The cheeks swell, the throat swells even. It's horrifying. So that did a lot of damage to my career. And so at the point that where she was telling me that at 26, I was thinking more that it was about, you know, what was going on. And I literally I was like, nah, you know, I was going to give it up. I thought I was going to die just in general. But I was
that goes to my next question. Do you feel that, for example, you know, that in the industry, should talent matter or beauty matter?
2001. Oh, I think obviously talent matters more than anything.
But why do you feel, for example, that like
I don't think our particular
the industry puts
I don't think there's a lot of actors that are not particularly stunning that are incredibly well received. And so I think that that's more important to an audience than anything. And I think, you know, with good lighting, you can pretty much make anybody look pretty. Good lighting, makeup is an art, you know. These are artists that come after us. Daytime makes everyone look awful most of the time. Just PS, if you see your favorite daytime actor and you're like, oh my God, I look amazing today, it's because they put an actual light on the floor in front of their face. For the majority of daytime is shot with lights overhead, which I just want you guys to all do this experiment. If you're curious about this, go into the bathroom and put on the lights, the overhead ceiling lights on, and notice that there's shadows under your eyes and everything looks awful. You look like you're under fluorescent lights, and you look like you're in a Kmart, which is amazing and great if that's the look you're going for, if you're shooting a scene in a Kmart. But in general, daytime doesn't have time to put key lights. And they do that in every movie, every single movie and every primetime show. The reason one episode takes 8 days instead of doing 8 episodes in one day is because of the lighting. That's part of it. You know, the shot, you do a million takes, but also setting up those lights, they get hours to do that in big budget films. So yeah, so I think that, that's just part of it. As long as you have brilliant, and I also think it's really different now. I think that women are showing up and letting our voices be heard. We are roaring in a way with entertainment and everything else that we never did before. Now that we have Twitter and social media and we love.
That's going to be my question for you next in regards to social media.
Yeah.
What is your thoughts on it? What do you feel that it's
helpful some ways?
It helps the business, hurts the business.
I mean, it's really helpful in some ways. Like I was just saying, I think that now women have a way of showing and telling what they love and supporting and putting their power and their money. It's just like, with Black Lives Matter when they had Buy Black Business Tuesday. This is a way of organizing. And if you didn't have social media, how are you going to spread that? Through email? Like, yeah, you can get some of that done, but it's really not the same as being able to have 100 of your favorite Black performers say, this is what you got to do on this day, do it. And when they have hundreds of thousands or millions of followers, that's translating into actual money. And that's really all that advertisers listen to.
True. But
they want awards and stuff, but they're looking for the awards because that translates into dollars. It translates into money, and anything that translates into money is helpful for getting things happening. So if you've got social media, you now have a voice that you didn't have. You now personally can say, we're doing a protest on this day at this time, and you show up, and you will have people show up. So in the same way, women can now come forward and say, we love our soaps, and if you take them away from us, we will cut your balls off. You know what I mean? We can say that, and we can show it. We can actually stand together, and things go viral in ways that actually translate into dollars for the networks. People, celebrities, because of some video that goes viral. And in all cases, really, really talented, who wouldn't otherwise have ever gotten a shot, There are plenty of people who would never have gotten a shot because they don't know anybody and they live in Kansas that can now make a, you know, a Shakespeare monologue, put it on YouTube, have it go viral, and next thing you know, they're in a Steven Spielberg movie. And I think that is great. That I love, and I love social media because I like people. In general, I like people. Like this time with coronavirus, none of us can get together. We can't do fan events. And yet I can talk to my fans every single day. I can talk to people who like my work. I can talk to other actors who are interested or have questions. And in that way, feel like I'm contributing something in a day that otherwise I might just sit on the couch and watch Netflix all day. You know, that would not be super exciting or fun. So in a way, social media
that the people on there sometimes can be, you know, horrible and nasty.
No, I don't get that. I don't get any of that. I'm so grateful and lucky to say that I've had maybe 2 tweets in my entire life that have been hurtful or disrespectful or violent or anything like that in my whole life. And I've had Facebook. I was the first actor on General Hospital to have a Facebook. I had a personal. We're not gonna have, it's almost dead. I gotta figure out how to plug it in. I was the first actor on General Hospital to have a Facebook. I went to each and every individual co-star of mine and I begged them to get involved in this new thing. And I was like, oh, you're gonna love it. Now, do I regret that? I mean, that's a longer conversation for another time. But I will say that I've had, you know, one person on Facebook say some horrifying things and it was as easy as block. And I'm not bothered by it.
Okay. When you look at the state
my digital device.
You're frozen.
Sorry. So anyway, I've had one bad message on Facebook and maybe 1 or 2 on Twitter. And that's it. In the history of the 9 or 10 years that I've been in this business of social media, I've not had that. I don't get, people don't say evil things to me. And maybe that's because I don't talk politics and I don't really get into that.
You're smart.
Because, you know what, I don't talk it because I really just don't want to get into it. It's not that I don't have opinions or I don't have ideas. I just don't want to get into it with people. I have other things I want to talk about and do in my life. And everyone has their own opinion. They're welcome to it and should have. And I don't really love, you know, all the advice that people are always giving on social media. I'm not a huge fan of that. Like, keep it to yourself. Like, okay, you like it, great, but don't act like we all need your advice because we all have our own gurus. We all have our own people that give us advice. But anyway, are there any good questions out there that we could go over? Because my battery is dying. I'm looking as we speak at like, how can I make this?
Guys, if you have a question, you can drop it below right now. We will take a few. While I'm looking for some questions, Sarah, I want you, for the people that have not seen it yet, I want you to tell them about your new project, Studio City.
Okay, Studio City. Yes, sorry guys, I just have to plug this phone in or else we're gonna crash. So
You getting a charger?
Is.
Okay.
I feel like everybody sort of knows a little bit now about Studio City since I've been talking ad nauseum about it and promoting it whenever I possibly can. And that is because we don't actually have a publicity department. So forgive me if you've heard about it, you know, 150,000 times.
I like that look you just rocked right now.
You like what?
I like this look with the one side of your hair over your face like that. You're frozen.
We're back. I hate this.
You're frozen.
We're constantly frozen. Okay, so Studio City, I know everybody's.
Oh, I was liking that look you were just rocking just now.
Oh, you like that?
Yeah, yeah, exactly, like
that. I wish I was Lana Turner, but no chance. God, I'd love to have been in that movie. LA Confidential. So, okay, so Studio City is a show that was created by my co-star from General Hospital, Sean Kanan, who played the original AJ. And Sean and I were AJ and Carly together back in General Hospital. And about a year and a half ago now, maybe 2, Sean called and he was like, hey, got the show, wrote the show. Would you like to do it? And I was like, Yeah, Sean, not really. Not interested in doing another digital drama kind of situation. Short format, not interested, but send it my way and I'll take a look. And I laughed so hard. I loved it. I loved it. I was like, oh, dude, I was so not interested in doing this. I hate you. All right, I'll do it. And he was so happy. And also he was like, oh, you got to check out this director. He's amazing. He's blah, blah, blah. And I really didn't look into the director until after I met him, and I realized, holy shit. Sorry if I'm cussing and I cuss like a sailor. And if anybody's offended, I'm really sorry. Just hit a devil and I'll stop doing that. Just send me a devil and I'll stop.
Tell me your character. Tell people about your character.
So my character is Lori. She plays Sean's sister, younger sister, and half sister, as she likes to point out all the time, which I think is really funny and silly. And Lori has episodes. So we've done 11 episodes of Studio City, and Sean and I, our brother and sister, our father is ill. He has cancer and he's dying. And my brother Sean's character plays Dr. Stevens on the #2 soap opera in America, which is obviously supposed to be funny. And it's just a wonderful group. My character's cool. She's really sweet and loving and lovable. Kind of hates her brother because he's a narcissist, but really loves her dad. And yeah, and like I said, we've done 11 episodes. It's a lot of fun. It's actually, you know, honest to God, it's one of my favorite projects I've ever done. I love it. My nephew, who is 21 years old, thinks it's amazing. I took him and he was like, Auntie, I love this. He loves it. So I think it's really
with it being on a streaming network.
It's on Amazon, so it streams on Amazon, but we've just done episodes 6 through 11, and those are our best, I think. We have so many great guest stars now, and Anna Maria Horsford, who came on this year, blows me away. I know she's going to get nominated for an Emmy, and I think she's going to win for Best Guest Star because she is just incredible. Anyways, an actress, but she brought so much to this project. Ron Moss, who, can I be honest, I don't like soaps in general. I don't not like them. I'm not a soap watcher. I love to watch movies. Remember I said earlier, I don't watch a lot of television. I do now, but I don't watch daytime television. And I never did. But Ron Moss is hysterical. He's literally hysterical in this. And I could not watch Ron Moss on The Bold and Beautiful if he paid. Not if you paid me. I would never have watched Ron Moss on The Bold and Beautiful for any reason. He is amazing in this.
That's what Sean told me. He said his scenes are really, really good. You're frozen again.
Sorry. It's great to see so many actors that have been on daytime, outside of daytime, in a primetime type setting where our lighting is all primetime. Everything's outdoors. There's nothing daytime about this show except that it's about a character who works on a daytime soap opera and how messed up that is as he's getting older and they're trying to kick him off. But otherwise, I think the world of it. I think our writers are dynamite. Our director is phenomenal. Our director of photography makes everything really dark and gritty. So it does not look, it's nothing like a daytime soap opera. Sean calls it an ode to, or a love letter to daytime, because it involves what it's like to have been on a daytime soap. But he leaves the daytime soap and he deals with, you know, his sister and his dad and all this stuff just in normal settings in a primetime setting. It looks
Marlo
like
31 says is Studio City of
and our director is a big film director. He doesn't do daytime. He's never done an episode of daytime in his life. So he's actually wonderful. I mean, it's just, I wouldn't say this and I wouldn't keep sending out things going, hey, watch the show if I didn't think it was great. Everyone that I know that sees it says, oh my God, it's great. And I love the new stuff even more. You know, I love the new stuff. So 6 through 11, I think are probably our strongest episodes, and it just gets better and better. I hope we'll do another season when we're fully able to, with coronavirus restrictions being lifted, and hopefully everybody will be available to do it. And yeah, I believe in it. So I hope you guys will check it out. It's on Amazon Prime Video, which you can sign up for 30 days for free. And the whole entire series is only 2 hours. So you can sign up for free, watch all the episodes, and then unsubscribe if you want. And people have Amazon Prime.
I have a question from a viewer. It says, would you ever consider, or sorry, do you and Sean Kanan do any martial arts training together? Seeing that both of you have a background in martial arts, would you ever be considered doing an action project together?
I would definitely do an action project with Sean, absolutely. But because of Corona, you know, we don't really get together outside of work. That's the truth. I run 5 miles a day, sometimes 7. I can do a 10. Today was not the day because I'm not feeling great, but and I haven't trained with martial arts in a while. But when I do train home alone, I do a lot of martial arts myself. I'm not, you know, my boyfriend on VR Troopers was the assistant stunt coordinator, and he was a 6-degree black belt who studied Muay Thai. He was like, you know, the white boy Bruce Lee, essentially. So he did teach me Muay Thai, and he taught me all of the martial arts that I learned on that show. However, I haven't trained in a really long time. I'm very much inspired by Halle Berry and what she's doing. She does her like Friday Fitness Challenge, and she's been working her ass off, getting in shape for this movie that she directed. And I think that actually inspired me. I was like, wow, she can work out 5 hours a day, you know?
When you what
I don't work out 5 hours a
role?
day. I would be like nothing. I don't eat gluten, and so there would, you know.
When you get a script, what attracts you to a role?
So reading the script, if I'm moved, if I cry, if I laugh, if I'm drawn in, because again, I've said that I don't like to read, which means that I actually hate to read. Not because I don't enjoy stories. I prefer audiobooks. I'll listen to it. Obviously with the script, you have to read it. If I read a script from start to finish and can't put it down, I'm in. Do we freeze again?
Yeah, you froze again.
So if I can read a script from start to finish without putting it down, I'm in. I don't like to read. I like to listen to audiobooks. I love stories, but I can't. I'm dyslexic, so reading is like pulling teeth. I absolutely hate it. It's not fun. Although I have read a couple books, I hate it. So if I can pick up a script and read it from start to finish without stopping, if it makes me laugh, cry, or think really, oh, wow, I'm in. Or I'm also really attracted to directors, like specific directors. If they're direct, I'm in. And again, you know, somebody said to me, a lot of people said, actually, why'd you do Big Mama's House? You know, your part was really small, and why would you do that? I want to point out that I made $8,000 to do Big Mama's House, you know, and then I made 100 times that in residuals, but I initially was paid, which I would never have known. I was paid $8,000 to do that part. I wanted to do that part. I was so excited to do that part. It was, there was the people that were involved that I was attracted to it for, you know, it was really.
Do you prefer playing comedy, action, or drama?
I think action and drama, but I love comedy's a new thing for me. I've never thought of myself as funny, but everyone I know tells me I'm funny.
You are funny.
But I'm, you know, definitely not Jennifer Aniston. Like that's not my. I didn't like wake up and think, oh, I want to do comedy. Comedy is something I'm sort of maybe getting more and more comfortable with, and I would love to spread my wings that way, but I don't feel super confident with it. So, and I think that I was lucky enough to work with Tony Shalhoub on Monk, and Tony Shalhoub was so funny that after 5 years of working with him, the entire crew would be in stitches on the take. Sorry. Every single take, Tony Shalhoub had this scene that we were doing this episode together, and all he did, Tony Shalhoub is from the TV show Monk, for those of you who don't know, and all Tony had to do in the scene was peek his head around a pillar like that. And these crew members have worked with him for 5 years, and they laughed uncontrollably, hysterically, every single time. That is a gift, and I am just like in awe of something like that. So I think the reason why I don't sing and I don't do a lot of comedy is I feel like, you know, people that are born with that kind of timing, that kind of gift, I've been in awe of it for so long. And I think to myself, if you can't make the crew laugh every single take by peeking around a column, what are you doing? There's somebody better than you for this job, you know, which is not to say that I won't do it. I do it. I do it. I will do it. But but there's that.
What advice would you give your younger self now?
Man, oh my God, I have so much advice for my younger self. Punch that guy in the face. That would be my advice, kid.
And what advice would you give for someone who...
Fair moment, that's what I would do. Sorry.
What advice would you give for someone that wants to get into this industry at a young age? What advice would you give them?
So I would definitely tell them to study, study, study. I know a lot of directors don't believe in study. They don't believe that you should study acting. But I do believe that you should at least study films, filmmaking, directors. You should read as much as you.
You're frozen. You are frozen. Let it go, let it go, let it go. You're frozen.
So I was classically trained, and there are a lot of directors who don't.
Hold on, dial it back. You were frozen.
So I don't. A lot of actors, not actors, a lot of directors don't believe in actors getting training, and I get it. I understand because they want that realism. However, I would suggest that you find the very best acting coach that you can, or acting class that you can, because you build community by having other actors that you work with. If your scene partner ever gets out of line, punch him in the face, and or her, and but do that training, do that, or at least read about. Read biographies on other actors, read biographies on directors, watch as much cinema as you possibly can, watch your favorite TV shows again and again and again, and pay attention to the actors that you love the most. Listen to them, listen to them. There are podcasts now that you can listen to, and In the Envelope is one I shared yesterday with Aldous Hodge, and he's so articulate, incredible, and just listening to his journey and then going through the entire podcast and listening to the actors that I admire and their journey, I learn a lot from that. I learn a lot about perseverance and that maybe some of the things I've been through haven't been so bad, that there are a lot of other actors who had a lot of worse experiences. So I believe in study, and I believe in training. I believe in doing your homework. I believe in writing background for your character. If you don't know it, write your character a Bible. If you don't know the inner monologue, make it up, write it down. Never drop a line, because you know what that character is thinking in between their moments. Ivana Chubbuck was my coach and teacher for many, many years. I admire her, and I think she's incredibly talented, but also she's great at getting people work. She's on Instagram at Ivana Chubbuck. I'm following her, so you can look in my list and you can find her. She does a lot of Instagram videos, so you can actually listen to some of her ideas, but she also has a book that's about that thin. It's like 90 pages, and it's brilliant. She is brilliant. She has worked with so many Academy Award winning actors, and she gets people work. So I would definitely check her out. Howard Fine was another one of my teachers. He's amazing. If you're quite young or you have a child who's very young, look at the High School for the Performing Arts. If you're in Los Angeles, there are other ones in New York that are quite good. And Hamilton Academy of Music in Los Angeles is also a magnet school for, these are both free schools that are county schools, public schools, that are also incredibly great for either musicians, dancers, or actors. So I would do all of those things. And don't let your guard down when it comes to your craft. Stay hungry, stay humble. And I did a lot of, I always wrote letters to the casting directors. I always wrote letters to the directors. I always said thank you. I always followed up. And I think that's important too. Yeah. And
you had a long, legendary career.
I think Janet Jackson said something really important yesterday, or great. She did offer a piece of advice. I was like, oh, that's brilliant. she said, you can't be in your comfort zone and grow at the same time. And I think that that's true.
You've had this, long, legendary career. And I put you up there, with, as I said, two of my very good friends, Sharon Case, Catherine Kelly Lang, and you as like three of the the most pinnacle, iconic female performers that ever stepped in the daytime. That to me, you know, even though you have gotten that respect in the sense of winning 3 Emmys, I still at times didn't feel, even outside of daytime, you didn't get the respect that you deserve as a performer, but you still managed to persevere and have this long career. What do you feel is your formula that made you last through all the things that you've been through, all the things you've been through, personal and professional, that's made you still stand the test of time, to still be in demand, to still be able to bring the performances that you're bringing in Studio City, to be, you know, to be taking a hiatus for a little bit and literally walk right back in there like you own the fucking show like you always do. What do you feel for yourself is an advice that you would give somebody for longevity in this business?
You got to shake it off. Whatever it is that gets you down or shakes your confidence, you got to be able to shake it off in order to move forward from it. So if you dwell on the mistakes you made in the last audition, or the bad note that you got when the casting director called your agent and said, you know, your face is swollen, or you didn't look right, or you're too old at 26, you got to be able to have that thick enough skin that you recognize that they are not, that's not God. You know, that is not the end of the road. Even getting blacklisted is not the end of the road. There's only so far that that can go, and so far that that can affect your career. Having confidence in yourself, but staying humble, being kind to everyone on the set, being kind and good. Not show up. Most importantly, do not show up on a set without having run those lines into the ground until they are basically tattooed on your brain. Don't embarrass yourself. Know your craft, know your work, study those lines, because there's nothing really worse than that. I was watching Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood last night before last, and I was just stunned. Really incredible scene towards the end where Leonardo DiCaprio's, you know, character goes up on set and he can't remember his lines, and then he goes into the trailer and just goes nuts on himself and looks in the mirror and says, I'm gonna kill you, I'm gonna shoot you tonight if you do this again, if you embarrass yourself. So that's the thing that you don't want to do. You get that opportunity, don't embarrass yourself. Don't stay up the night before drinking, don't go out, don't party with your friends. You know, commit to your craft and honor yourself, and honor the crew and the cast that are going to be working with you, and the director who chose you. And at the end of it, when it's over, send a nice note and say thank you.
You winning 3 Emmys, did you feel from the first time you won the Emmy, one, what did that mean to you? But winning 3 times an Emmy, did you feel that it put more pressure on you as a performer?
No,
or did you
didn't put
easier
pressure on
as a
me.
performer?
I didn't feel pressured. I felt like now I need to go and do something else, because, you know, this is an incredible gift that if I just sit here with these gifts I've been given, which meaning the Emmys, if I just sit here on this show with these Emmys, you know, oh, let me hold on to this. That's not me. That's not what my team. To be scared, to be, try to be fearless in the, I got into acting to try to be fearless in the face of the inevitable, which is rejection. You know, I got into it because I wanted to overcome obstacles in my way, not to be comfortable. And I think that when you get too comfortable in any given place that you're at, that you're complacent and your work is definitely going to suffer. Now, that's not necessarily true. Some actors keep themselves on the ball. They go home, they do it. They constantly work with coaches, and they're constantly trying to bring up their game and make themselves better and better and better. But it is a really easy place to get complacent in, because once you know a character, if you're playing the same character for 6 years, and especially in daytime, you say the same lines from day to day, pretty much. You know, they assume in daytime that the person didn't necessarily see the episode yesterday. so they repeat a lot of the dialogue. So it can get really easy to become complacent, and I didn't ever want to be complacent. So even going back to a daytime show, but being on a new show with a new character felt like, okay, that's growing. Coming back to a show, playing a different character on the same show, that's growing. But to play the same character, for me personally, felt like I would be betraying what I got into the business for, because I didn't get into it for the money.
Who was your inspiration as an actor? Your biggest inspiration?
Growing up?
Yeah.
You're going to laugh so hard at me. I'm almost embarrassed to say. Seriously, Dolly Parton.
Dolly Parton, wow.
9 to 5. Yeah.
Why?
I mean, when I was like 8 years old, I'm walking, or however old, I think it was 8 years old, I was walking around going, Texas has a whorehouse in it. And of course it's, but I didn't know what the actual words were in the song. I was literally singing, Texas has a whorehouse in it. You know, Burt Reynolds and Cannonball Run and Dolly Parton. I loved their movies, and as a kid, that's what I was really, really drawn to. And there was another young actor who's just such an awful person that I won't bring up, so I'm just not gonna, you know, I'm like, no, I'm not gonna go there. But yeah, it wasn't really, I wasn't allowed to watch television as a kid. I don't think I even mentioned that. Part of the reason I didn't watch daytime or any of that is I was not allowed to watch TV as a kid. I was made to go outside and play, and I was doing sports all day, every day. So I didn't have that opportunity. I loved films, and Dolly Parton was the star of the films that my dad would take me to see. And, you know, otherwise Gandhi, like we would go see Gandhi, Ben Kingsley. But yeah, Dolly Parton, she was my idol.
Do you have a drink near you right now?
Do I have a drink? Yeah, but it's pretty much gone.
Okay. I wanna do a toast right now, because I'm not sure if you remember, if you know. Today is a day, an unfortunate day, that a lot of you watching this woke up to the news of someone who was my brother, someone who was family, who was one of the greatest men I've ever known, passed away on this day 2 years ago. Christophe St. John. And right now, wherever you're at, who's ever watching this, if you have a drink, I want to hold it up. I want to toast my brother, who I love, who I miss, who to me was not only an icon in this industry, but was a legend as a friend, as a mentor, as a beautiful human who we unfortunately lost far too soon. And I just want to say to anybody out there, Christophe always had a saying called love and light. Sarah, I love you, I respect you, I cherish you, and I honor you, my friend. And I thank you so much for being such a beautiful human that has contributed to this business, contributed to this art, contributed to making our industry better. I'm a better person for knowing Christophe. I'm a better person for knowing you. I try to surround myself with people that inspire me. And to me, in a sense, he was known as the Denzel of daytime.
Yes, sir.
And I look at you, my friend, my beautiful friend who I adore and I love, as the Meryl Streep of daytime.
Oh, please, no.
You are a person
right now, like
who has, to me, with you coming back into prime time with this new show and being able to see you bring the performances that you bring, it reminds me so much of Christophe, of the realness, of the elements that he brought to his performances. So, Christophe St. John, my brother, I love you, I miss you, I wish you were still here, and cheers to you, my friend.
Cheers to Christophe, who I loved and adored and loved me.
What did Christoph mean to you? I know what he meant to me, but what did he mean to you?
He was one of the funniest people I've ever met, one of the nicest, sweetest, most talented, kindest people I have ever met. When I was at my lowest, he found a way to find me and make sure that I knew that he loved me for no reason, like none. He just knew I was down. He wouldn't hear from me. He would go and write on my Facebook, "I love you. My son loves you." And I have to tell you that, like everyone else in the world that loved and knew him, I was just devastated to lose him at such a young age and for no good reason whatsoever. And, I'd like to take this opportunity to reach out to everybody out there and say, I know we preface this with, hey, grab a drink, but if you have anything going on in your life and you need support, I urge you to get that support that you need. My father was 23 years sober, so I know very, very well how dangerous it can be, especially during coronavirus, to not have the love and support that you need around you. And please, please, please reach out. Please reach out and find whoever you need to get there right now if you need, and get that support and love that you want and need, because there was no reason for any of us to have to endure what we do with losing Christoph St. John. He was a beautiful.
And I also want to give a shout out to his son Julian, who also lost his life, who was with Christoph as well.
And I think
Julian was a beautiful soul.
You can't from that.
My heart still goes out to Lola, Paris, Mia, thinking of all of you today. Ksenia, his ex-fiance, I am thinking of you as well, who I love. And the cast and crew of Y&R, all my brothers and sisters, Sharon, Joshua Morrow, Doug Davidson, Brighton James, Daniel Goddard. We were all a deep family. Eric Braden. All of us, that was one of the hardest days. It's still one of the hardest days for me to think of, to remember, to wake up. And, I just hope that exactly what you said, Sarah, that I hope all of you who are on this podcast right now, it is a very hard time in the world for all of us. We're all battling a battle that many people don't even understand. Some are battling mental health. Some are battling, financial. Some are battling, loss of business. And I really hope that all of you guys have somebody that you can turn to. You can reach out. You never have to feel that you're alone, because we are all in this truly together. If you don't have somebody to talk to, you can always follow me, guys, on my Instagram at DTEFLON. You can reach out to me, leave a message. I'll be writing a tribute post to him in the morning when I wake up. So hopefully you guys will come there, show your support for Christoph, show some love. And as I said, we're all in this together, and I'm sending love to every single person right now who's either battling this virus, who has lost someone this year, who has lost someone last year, who has lost someone to suicide, or any bit of illness. Life is very short, and we have to appreciate the people that we have in our lives. And we also have to remember, we only get one life. And all I ask from all of you watching this, we just came out of a climate, of the last 4 years that were very, very, very volatile, very, very one-dimensional in the sense of, whether it be race or wearing a mask or whatever. And all I ask for all of you who are watching this is just to be kind. That's the only thing that I ask, is all of you just to be kind, because you really do not know what someone is going through, what someone is facing, what battle someone is dealing with. And it just takes one kind word. It's like a ripple effect that you can spread light to people that you don't know. And this social media platform that we're on, this is all new even for me, doing live podcasts per se, because again, I'm the guy who's more quiet, on a set, working wise, I'm good. But, I wanted to allow people to see and recognize all these amazing, talented actors in my industry that I have the privilege to know and work with, to be able to give you guys an opportunity to see individuals and beautiful humans like Sarah Joy Brown, who are more than just an actor, more than just a person you see, you know, on your television screen every day. They're humans. They're humans. We eat the same shit. We go to the same bathroom. We all do the same thing. We just do things a little bit differently in our profession than some of you may do in your everyday life. But understand, every single person who's watching this, we're not always going to agree on things. We're always not going to see the same opinions on things. But it still doesn't give anyone the right to be disrespectful, to be hurtful. And as I said, you know, being kind is the easiest thing that you can do because it is free. So I hope that, you know what, all of you can appreciate, you know, being able to see an actress like Sarah Joy Brown, who's an amazing person, amazing human being, to be able to have the ability to appreciate her giving her time today, her giving her energy in the sense, number one, to reach out to you fans. Because again, without all of you, none of us would be doing what we're doing. So in return, just show your love, show your kindness, and learn to appreciate each other. That's all I ask.
Yeah, same, man. Cheers to St. John.
Christoph, Julian, you said if you have a glass,
And Julian.
shake it up in the air. Show your love to Christoph. Show your love to Julian. Show your love to the St. John family. Show your love to the Weinar family. And show your love to Sarah Joy Brown for joining us here tonight.
Thank you, everyone who
Before I let you go, I want to play a game of first word association.
Oh boy, okay.
Steve Burton.
Gorgeous.
Maurice Burton.
Maurice Burton.
No, it's Maurice Bernard.
Steve and Maurice.
Maurice Bernard.
Intense. You don't have an actual list.
No, I'm running this on the top of my head.
Okay.
Okay, let's see.
Are there any questions anybody wanted to ask?
Hold on, let me take some questions too. Hold on. Let me see if there's any over here. Guys, if you have any questions below for Sarah, you can drop them right now, and we will do our best to answer them.
I'm thinking darkness. With my friend.
Brad Hawkins.
A lot of accidents.
Lots of accidents?
Yes.
Okay. Guys, if you have some questions, drop them right now. We will answer these questions before we go.
But also a gentleman. I mean, Brad's a gentleman. He didn't intentionally injure me. He's a coward.
Elsa.
What's that?
I don't know who that is. Elsa.
Elsa, let it go. Let it go. I don't sing when I want people to like me. Really, I have a friend who wants me to do a podcast. He wants me to come on and sing with him. Not happening. I don't think that's
What do you contribute? This is the question was asked earlier. What do you think? Because again, you, my timeless, ageless friend who stays looking 19 all the time.
Well, I'm 26 over the hill, remember?
Yeah, right.
I'm ready to roll.
What do you feel that makes daytime actors so beautiful and that they never age, like yourself?
I don't know. I think in the first place that daytime hires, primarily they hire really attractive people. So they go after looks as if, again, you're there to sell soap. So they look for people who have really great hair, good skin. It's the.
frozen. You're frozen.
Let me be real about this for every woman out there who's watching or listening and may look at other women who are actors and feel less than in any way, shape, or form. My body is my body. I was born with this body, and I've been muscular since I was 5 years old. I also, again, I'm a professional athlete all of my life. So don't call me skinny, because I'm not skinny. I have celiac disease, and I have to eat a certain way that you would not probably want to eat if you had the choice. So I haven't had fast food in 15 or 16 years. And maybe that contributes, but also I think there's money that we all have, people that work in television and film have the money to be able to keep themselves looking good. You can go to the dermatologist, you can have your skin peeled or lasers or whatever, listen, I've been doing my own hair, to be honest, but it's not looking the best it ever
It looks amazing.
But
your hair looks fucking
generally
amazing.
speaking, I would go to a hairdresser who charged a fortune to do my hair, and it made it incredibly gorgeously, blonde here and blonde there, and he made my hair look amazing. I had a professional makeup artist. I did my own makeup today, so maybe I don't look quite as great as I would on daytime television.
You look stunning.
Or on the red carpet or whatever, but what I'm trying to say is that we're all just regular people. We don't all wake up like Halle Berry, who's obviously more gorgeous than any of the rest of us and wakes up like that. But, I wake up with puffy eyeballs and a ridiculous white girl fro that you would not be proud of, nor would you want to ever see. And I think that a lot of it is that. I think it's
You're frozen.
I think it's diet. I think it's exercise. I think it's, some of us have trainers. I don't personally, but I know a lot of people in Hollywood do. I mean, a lot of people in Hollywood have fake hair. Their hair isn't real. They've got extensions, or, both men and women. There's just a lot of stuff that goes down that I think the normal average person who's not on television every day eats whatever they want. They drink whatever they want. They don't worry about it. I know my friends don't worry about it. They go out and whatever, and they can do whatever they want. I can't do that. I can't eat fast food. I don't get to do that. I don't have that luxury. And also, I don't do it. I don't do drugs. I've never done drugs. It's not a part of my life. And so I've taken really good care of myself that way. I don't go in the sun as much as possible since I learned that it will actually make you look horrible and worse than anything else in the world. And also, I have always taken care of my skin. I use expensive products, and everybody can't do that, and everybody doesn't know what to use. So I think if you find, my advice for women though is, if you find an actress or a celebrity or somebody that you look at and you think, I want to look like that, find out what they're using. Because there's a huge difference. I can go to the drugstore and put on a cream, and immediately all my pores are clogged and look horrible and start to break out with pimples, and I don't get pimples. Then I use something that's really expensive, not hundreds of dollars or something, but expensive. And I put that on, and no, I don't have that problem. So it does matter what you put in your skin, what you put in your body, and what you put on your hair. All that matters. And I think it is worth it. Invest in yourself, but don't get swindled. Look at people that you believe in and that are honest, and go for what they're using. It's usually not stuff. You look horrible.
Last two questions. What would, for you, out of all your years of working in television and film, your most embarrassing moment?
I do think I thought about this very recently, and I'm trying to think, does this count even though? Let's see if this even counts. Let's see if this counts. I don't know if this counts, but I'll try. So I was working on Big Mama's House 2, and tell me if it doesn't count. I'll come up with something else. But I was working on Big Mama's House 2, and I shot on Friday, then got on a plane with my boyfriend at the time, and he took me to Mazatlan for the weekend, and I came back, and everybody knows not to do that. That's like really stupid. And when we were at the airport, I'm obsessed with brushing my teeth. Like, it's a thing for me. I'm obsessed with it. So we're at the airport, and you know, I get off the plane and I immediately go into the bathroom, wash my hands, and I brush my teeth. And I see the sign after I'm brushing my teeth already that says, do not drink the water. And I'm like, ah, shit. Ugh, what have I done? We go for the weekend, and I get back on the plane, get back to Los Angeles, and have to shoot. And I arrive back on set, and I have not Montezuma's Revenge, but I have bacterial meningitis. And I filmed for the whole fucking day, excuse my French, that whole day of like all this action stuff that we had to do and all this crazy FBI stuff we had to do. And I leave the set, I drive home at 6 o'clock in the morning, we wrap, and I drive home, I go home, my daughter's playing in the backyard, and because I'm just like passing out. And thank God had the wherewithal to call my father and say, I actually think I'm going to faint or pass out. And I did. And my dad came and I went to the hospital, and I was then in bed for 19 days until and I, thank God, didn't have to work for any of that 19 days. It was like wrap 19 days. And then once I was well, which was like 19, 20 days later, my next scenes were the next month, with the following month in New Orleans. And that was really embarrassing. It was just really embarrassing that I did something so stupid, that I had this opportunity to do something great, and I messed it up by, you know, getting so ill that I could have died. And yeah, I'd say that was the most embarrassing thing I've ever done. Other than having that stupid skirt I had to wear in 10/8, which just barely covered my butt.
Okay, last question. For you, future goals. What is something that you're still feeling for yourself that you have not fulfilled in your even profession or just in general in your life?
Oh, wow. Well, so in general in my life, I'd like to, you know, maybe fall in love, meet the love of my life, maybe spend my life with somebody. That would be really lovely. It's been hard being a single mom since I was 22 years old, 23 years old, and raising my daughter and working as constantly as I have. Those things were my priority, and so I really didn't focus on it as much as I should have, I guess. Maybe that'd be a balance. So personal life, that would be the best. I'd like that, and I'm working towards it. And then I've been editing since I was 20, and I want to get better at that and possibly move into that. Directing and editing are passions that I've had. I wanted to direct since I've wanted to edit and direct since I was 8 years old, and I would like to see my name under directed by, and that's what I'd like to do for the rest of my career. I still want to act, obviously, but I want to be known as a director and editor as I move forward.
Would you want to go back direct in the sense in prime time or film?
I want to direct music videos and commercials.
Oh, music videos.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I want to start. I mean, I don't, it's not that I don't have aspirations or, you know, big goals that way, but I've always been obsessed with music and visuals, and music videos are what I started with editing 20 years ago. And that's what I love to do. So I'm obsessed with editing. I could sit down in front of a computer and not move for 22 hours and just do it nonstop. And there's not a lot of other things that I feel that way about. And directing is that way for me as well. So I think that those are my life goals. I would really love to work with some of the actors that I admire and respect, and hopefully some of the directors I admire and respect in the future. But I do feel like now in this day and age, you have to make opportunities for yourself. And that's what I'm trying to do.
Do you feel like, for yourself, being a single mother, do you feel that makes it harder for you to be able to balance in the industry, or do you feel that you've now been doing it for so long that you can just manage it?
I don't think it affects me anymore, but it was my priority. In my career, the majority of my career, when I was younger, I stayed in daytime because I had this young child, and I really did not want to grow up and have available. sorry, I wanted to be present and I wanted to be available. I wanted to show up at those Christmas shows that she did. I wanted to take her to her classes and her dance classes and all of her after school activities. So as a single working mom, my priority was my daughter, and I wanted to be on daytime for as long as possible because it allowed me that opportunity. Even working on Cold Case, we had 12-hour days sometimes, and that's really tough when you have a small child at home. You can't really explain that to a kid, you know, when it's take your daughter to work day, or rather take your mother to school day, you know, bring your parent to school day and you can't show up. That's just not, there's no excuse that makes sense to a kid at that age. And yes, they definitely get over it when they're older. I know that, but I also in Hollywood have known and grew up with so many kids that were backwards and messed up and on drugs. I mean, literally like trying to shoot heroin at, you know, 14 and 15 years old because there was nobody at home and they had all this money and all of this access to this incredible lifestyle, but nobody cared where they were, what they were doing. And I felt incredibly badly for them. I was poor, but my family wanted to know where I was at all times. In fact, my dad would whistle and the whole neighborhood knew it was my dad whistling. They'd be like, oh, the Browns, gotta go home. You know, gotta go, your dad's calling. So I wanted to be that kind of mom. I wanted to be mommy on the spot, and I turned down things like the L Word and because they shot in Canada. I just wasn't going to go away from my daughter. So now she's going to be 23 in July, and she is fully an adult, and she has made the dean's list. You know, I'm so proud of her at USC, and I feel like I can do whatever I want in my life, and she is 100% about it and supportive.
Did she ever want to get into the business? You're frozen. You are frozen. Let it go.
My daughter adores me, and she will let me and want me to do anything and everything that is good for me, my heart, and my soul, because she knows I put everything into her when she was a kid. So now she's like, Mommy, go do it. Whatever it is, go do it. She's my biggest fan. If you look on my Instagram at all my photos, my daughter's always the first one to go, you're so gorgeous, I love you. You know, she is my biggest fan, and she is not crazy and is on the dean's list. And so I feel like I made the right choices. And the rest of it doesn't matter. You know, be there for your kids. That's what really matters. You know,
did she ever want to get into the business?
No, she's not interested at all.
At all?
No, she did our lives with me. She played me as a little girl. She played my character Madison as a little girl, and I played Madison's mom on Days of Our Lives. So the only thing she ever wanted to do. In fact, in addition to that, she discovered this really incredible kid who played the young version of Conan the Barbarian in the movie. Jason Momoa, I think, was the main guy, right? So the kid who played him, my daughter discovered him, and that was the only thing she's ever done in the business. And she gave him his first role. He was auditioning for her dad, and she was like, I think he's the one, you know. And so he got that job, and then he got subsequently all these other jobs. She doesn't have any interest. She is studying communications. So she thinks she might want to maybe possibly go into producing, but yeah, and she's really great at editing as well. So I'm trying to get her excited about that going forward.
Last question. If you could have any actress in the world play you, either in a biopic or in a movie, who would you pick? Who would you cast to play you?
Jessica Chastain.
Very good choice. Very, very fucking good choice.
Yeah, she's amazing. I love her. She's amazing. Now, she obviously couldn't play me as a kid. I would pick Chloe Grace Moretz, who I've done 2 movies with and who I adore and who I've known since she was literally 5 years old and was, you know, best friends with my daughter. So I would definitely pick Chloe to play me as a little girl.
Okay, guys, I'm going to take a couple questions and then we're going to wrap this up. So if you have a question right now for Sarah, please drop it below in the comments. I'll take 3 questions.
I'm going to cough.
Yeah.
Sorry. Question? Anyone have question? I think we've waited
question,
longer.
guys. Here's your chance. to ask Sarah a question, please drop it below.
I think they're all asleep now. Did I put you to sleep, y'all? What is your favorite song?
My favorite song?
Yeah.
Of all time?
Of all time.
Lost Without You by Freya Ridings.
Oh my. Okay, what is everybody's favorite song? Let's see, because I just want to see if everybody's asleep. I feel like they've all gone to sleep.
Lost Without You for Friends, and then
we put them to sleep.
Mariah Carey, We Belong Together, and then it would be Together by Shy.
You belong to me.
People are here. They're still awake. They're still up. They've been holding out with us. I want to thank everybody for sticking on. This has been my actually longest podcast ever.
Yeah, we've been on.
But I've enjoyed it.
On the
I
phone
love talking
for
to this
4
woman
hours.
because she's always so smart and so insightful.
We've been on, he and I have talked on the phone for an entire day. One day we got on the phone and I think we were on the phone for 9 hours and I literally was like, I have to go. I got to go. I must hang up now. You don't understand. And another 4 hours later, we just, it's a trouble. It's a thing with us. All right. Nobody has questions. I love you all. I'm so grateful that you came to listen, to tune in, that you were here. Just, you know, we're celebrating Christoph St. John. Tef, I love you. And I so appreciate you bringing me on. Let me talk about stuff. And I hope you guys had a good time. And if you have questions, you can send them over to me on Instagram. My Instagram messages are open. You can always message me. If you say something important, I will definitely message you back. And even my Twitter is open. You can direct message me on Twitter. That is always an option.
What's your Twitter handle?
Facebook does not have messages open because I got some weird ones.
Give your Twitter handle.
My Twitter is at Sarah Joy Brown. And then my Instagram is at Sarah Joy Brown, like iPhone.
And your Facebook?
My Facebook is at Sarah Joy Brown. No,
hey guys,
my Facebook
guys
is
for
at...
all by tonight for another edition of Hot Topics Radio TV. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. You can follow if you want to check out the full episode. It will be uploaded as well here and on YouTube. Also, next week, joining us, we have a couple great guests coming up. So each and every Tuesday and Sunday, we have special guests on the After Ride, After Night Late Show, which is Tuesday night, which starts at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And every Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Sarah Joy Brown, has been an absolute pleasure having you. I want to thank you for giving me your time today. Hopefully we can do this again in the sense, number one, and get you on the, daytime, so I don't have to keep you up late at night, but
it's all right.
I enjoyed in the sense, number one, having you on. You're an amazing woman.
This made me forget that I don't feel well. So this was actually really fun and great. And thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, I'm glad you're feeling a bit better, and I want to send. Pardon?
I need some more hot tea.
I need some tea too. I have some drinky drink still, but
nice.
Probably in the sense, number one, have some tea after this. But for all you fans in the sense, number one, that have been on tonight, watching this podcast, as I said, sorry we went a little bit longer than we normally have, but when you have a legend like this, you got to give her time, give her just dues, give her respect. And
hours,
pardon?
Almost 3 hours.
I know, which is crazy.
Crazy,
so thank you guys in the sense, number one, for stopping by. And Sarah, I love you.
I love
Appreciate
you.
you. And let's do this again.
All right. And Christoph St. John, we love you.
Peace, guys.
Everybody. Thanks for tuning in.